Thought I'd take a break from reviewing mechs and take a look at some vehicles this week. So, the vehicle I'm going to look at is the Drillson Heavy Hover Tank SRM variant. It's 27 points, size 2, which is very important. Its TMM is 3. Its movement is 18 hover, also very important. Its short range is 3. Its medium range is 2. It has 6 total HP with 3 in the armor and 3 in the structure. And for the purposes of playing Alpha Strike and Wolfnet format, it has a turret of 2-2 dash. So I love the Drillson as a heavy hover tank. What I mean by that is it is a size 2 hover tank, and it also dishes out a good amount of firepower, right? A lot of hovercraft are very fast. Maybe they're even up into the 20s for movement. Their TMM is 4, but they have very few hit points, or they only do like 1 damage, or maybe at the most 2 damage at short range, like say your J. Edgars or your Savannah Masters or your Gabriels or some of your Pegasus, right? But this thing is bringing a bit of body with them, with that total of 6 HP. It's bringing a 2-3 shot, which is great because it can still clunk a hit. It's got good shooting for a fast mech, clunk a couple hits at medium, but at short range, it's putting 3 into the back of someone that's sub 10 points per shot, right? You're getting efficient shots out of it, but it also is a little bit faster than a lot of these other heavy mechs, or not heavy mechs, heavy hover vehicles that only go 16. Even some of the size 1, like a lot of the Pegasus only go 16, and this thing's doing 18, right? So that size 2, that 3 shot at short, it also has that TMM of 3, which I like, and then that medium range. It's a pretty ubiquitous mech too. Intersphere, Periphery, and Mercenaries can all take this thing, except when you get into later eras, then Intersphere's lost, and it's only a Periphery and a Merc mech. So, I mean, if you're playing Periphery, like this thing is just like an auto include in my mind, as one of your heavy options. You should at least have it in your collection, right? Like everyone should have a couple of these in their collection and have the ability to run them. The cons are you do lose 1 in the turret, which isn't fantastic, because sometimes you play this like cat and mouse game with other hovercraft, and it's like, well, who goes last? And if you had 3 in the turret, like that's at least if someone gets in your rear, you're still shooting at them with 3, even though they're getting you with that extra shot. And the one thing that a lot of hovercraft don't like is when you get into short range, because that's when you really start taking those hits and driving them home, right? Like that's where hovercraft get hit, and they like to be kind of behind stuff so they don't get hit. So if you had that turret and it was 3, it would really deter your opponent from trying to go around your back, I think, a lot more than the 2 does. So I think that's kind of a bit of con. It is kind of a bummer that it's not TMM4. It's going faster at 18, and I get, that's the cutoff for TMM3, but TMM4 is just that much more survivable. And if you could have a TMM4 unit that had 6 hit points, like, man, that'd be so sweet. So it isn't quite there. So it is going to, take some hits. That 3 is great, especially at long range. Like nobody wants to touch it. But at medium and especially at short, you're going to take hits, which means the other con of it is that it is a hovercraft. You're going to take motive hits. And I know some people ignore that. It's just a +1, right? It's just a +1 on the hovercraft for your motive check. Yeah, but man, when those motive hits connect, it sucks on a hovercraft. Suddenly your movement's cut in half. Your TMM goes from 3 to 2 or 3 to 1. You get immobilized, your crew gets stunned. Like it can really put a damper on one's day. And so that is a con you got to keep in mind. Like I've had games where my hovercraft are doing the Lord's work, as it were, and then suddenly they're all bunkers. And that's never fun. You're also, you have a TMM that's 3, which is great. You need it. But you do have to keep in mind that you are paying 5 points for each one of those health points, right? And it's not armor forward. It does not have case. It does not have energy weapons, right? Because you are loaded up with SRMs. So keep that in mind. Philosophy of use. He's a really good objective grabber at 18. Some of those speed 16 hovercraft, they're good objective grabbers, but 16 does not get you as far as you want sometimes. And 18 does sometimes, especially when you sprint and you're going, 27 instead of 24, like it can make a big difference. And also that 18 is really helpful because one of the things I like to do with my hovercraft is play them in such a way that they can rapidly redeploy and relocate based off of threats. This could be like during the deployment phase. Like maybe I spam them on one side to try to get my opponent to commit troops to one side of the field. And then on turn one, I move them to the other side. So now they're out of place. Maybe I get outplayed and outmaneuvered, and now I have to reposition. And having that 18, like the 2 extra inches, it can matter. It can count. So objective grabber, kind of light cavalry, rapid redeployment type thing. That's really good. It's a really good hover hunter and light mech hunter. That 3 damage at short range is no joke, and it can catch up to them. You know, a lot of stuff has 3 damage at short range, but it's never going to get within that distance to be able to take out those hover vehicles and those light mechs. And putting 3 into someone at short range, especially if you can get in their rear arc and make it up to 4, like that can be a real problem for light mechs and for hovercraft. And it also makes an excellent flanker running up the sideboard and containing, right? Really, really good. I think I've mentioned this before. I like to pair him up with something like a J. Edgar, especially that MG variant that's got a short range 2 attack, because they can really kind of tag team and play off of each other very, very effectively. Models wise, Ironman Metals has an okay model. It's nothing to write home about. There certainly are worse Ironwind Metal hovercraft, and there certainly are better ones. You know, it's just okay. The Drillson's just okay. CGL, though, has a new plastic one, and it is awesome. It's so good. I want to buy all of them and paint them in every scheme possible. Before I get on to variants, I want to talk about a couple other kind of mechs that I would say are in this like mid to high 20s category that have a decent amount of armor, structure, and firepower output that you might compare this to. And the reason I want to compare them is because some of these, in the right circumstance, might be a better option for you. But I also want to show you how the Drillson is also, in many circumstances, is better than these. So the first, I'm going to talk about the Condor. There are 2 different Condors. I'm just going to highlight. There's a ton of different Condors. I'm not going to go line by line with each one of them. But the Condor with the Vision variant, it's 33 points, so it's a little more expensive. This Condor, though, brings a lot more body for what is that? 6 more points. It's got 5 armor and 3 structure, so it's 8 hit points. It is slower though. It goes 18, but it is 3-2 with the turret of 3-2. So it is bringing that 3 at short range in the turret, which I kind of like, and it also is bringing a little more body. It just costs 5 more points, and so the Drillson, the advantage that this Condor is going to have, of course, is that shooting and that armor, that body, whereas the Drillson is the extra speed. Really, it's the extra speed, and it's a little more point efficient, right? Like, you know, if you got to shave 5 points, there's your 5 points. The regular Condor hover tank is 27 points. This is just an example, I think, of where the Drillson is better. It's all you're gaining on the Condor is 1 shot at long range, which on a hovercraft is hover crap. It's terrible because you are going so fast, you don't want to be shooting at long range. You're going to be engaging at a minimum of medium, or you're going to try to engage at short. So it's also slower. So boo, same armor structure, and it still only has 2 in the turret. So this thing, if you're thinking about a Condor and you're like, I got 27 points to burn, I'm going to do a Condor. Nope, don't do this Condor. Do that Drillson if you have it available. Both of these are all size 2. So, right, these are also good because that size 2 lets you body a size 1 hovercraft or size 1 vehicle on an objective, especially in the early game, in something like King of the Hill, right? The Pegasus. Now, I wanted to compare the Pegasus because the Pegasus is size 1, and there is a 27 and a 30-point option here. The 27-point option is the sensor variant. It is TMM3 move 16, so it is slower. It is 2-2, so it does not shoot as well, and it also is 5 total damage. So if you're thinking about running a Pegasus, there's nothing that this Pegasus says to me that says, take me over the Drillson. Take the Drillson. The Drillson has more damage output at short range. It can take more HP hits because it has 1 extra structure, and it's faster, and its size is better. So the Pegasus at that 27-point level, not a good option. Now, the missile Pegasus is a little bit better. What I like about this Pegasus is that it brings 3 medium range damage, so 1 more than the Drillson. Now, you might be saying, Craig, I thought you said that short range is all that really matters. And it is a pretty important consideration for these, but a lot of times your hovercraft might be engaging, especially when they're dueling and dancing with other hovercraft at medium range. And so this Pegasus at 3 at medium is not too bad. The other thing that I do like about this one, though, the Pegasus missile variant over the Drillson, is the turret on the Pegasus is 3-3. So you are gaining that 360 degree short range attack damage. It is slower though, and it has less health. So, these two paired up are actually not bad. Like if you have extra points and you want to pair up the Drillson with something that kind of supports it, I think the Pegasus is a good option, even though it is slower than that Jaeger. The Maxim SRM4 variant in particular, it's slower. Its size is the same, but it is slower. It's 16 instead of 18. It is 3-2, so it's identical. Turret's the same. It's a 2-1, so it's actually worse than the turret because it only has one shot at medium range of the turret. 27 points, 6 total health. But the thing we like about this Maxim is its IT3. So when you're building your list, I like the Maxim if I'm going to be transporting infantry. And this really is where I draw the line. If I'm going to be transporting infantry for bunkers or something else, I like the Maxim over the Drillson because the Drillson can't do it. And the Maxim can, which means the Maxim's more versatile in that regard. But if you're not going to be transporting infantry in a Maxim or in a heavy hover, maybe you're transporting it in something else, you're not bringing it, then take the Drillson. It's faster. It's got technically a better turret shot, only by a little bit though. But they're both size 2, so they can both jump on those objectives. The other Maxim I'd look at, it's quite a bit more pricey, but it's a pretty sick Maxim. Let's be honest. It's the 35-point Maxim 1 heavy hovercraft, or maybe that's an I. I'm not sure. Size 2, TMM's 3, movement's still 16, but it's 3-3 instead of 3-2. It picks up an extra point of health, so it's 4-3 armor structure, but turreted 3-3, which is pretty sweet because that other Maxim, the SRM4 variant, is only turreted 2-1. It also has tag if you want to play tag shenanigans, but it has an infantry transport of 12, so it can take an entire company of infantry. It seems like that's a lot of infantry transport, so you could really drop off like a lot of stuff with that thing. And if you're not taking it for infantry transport, I think that the 3-3 and the extra body, can be worth it in certain circumstances. I do kind of like the Drillson though more because it's got that 18 is so good, right? That 18 movement is so good. I think people really underestimate how good that move 18 is on the Drillson. That extra 2 inches, it's pretty sweet. A couple other Drillson variants. You've got the ERLL, so the extended range large laser variant, 27 points. It's 2-2-2. I do not like it because you're spending extra points just to gain a long range attack that you're never going to use, and its turret's only 1-1. It's Fed Sun, Lyrans, and Commonwealth. The sealed Drillson is 32 points. It is also 2-2-2, so you are wasting even more points here for those shots. You lose that, when you lose that short range down from 2 to 3, it's pretty rough. And I don't think the trade-off for long range attacks is great. But you do pick up 7 health with this one. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's better. Probably not. I wouldn't take it. Fed Suns, Lyrans, Wob, Republic. It looks like Jade Falcon and some Minor Nations later on. The Drillson Heavy, however, the base model is 28 points. It's got that 18 move, which is not terrible. We love it. I think all of the Drillsons, with the exception of one variant, all maintain that 18 move. But it is 2-2-1, and it costs more. So you're paying an extra point to do a shot at long range and not do 3 shots at short. And that long range shot isn't even in the turret, so who cares? It is ubiquitous, though. I wouldn't touch it. The Streak variant, 34 points. Not bad. And it is Fed Suns, Lyran, Commonwealth, and Wob. So I'll tell you what, I like to run this in my Wobbies. It's a pretty good one, but it is 34 points. So you're spending an extra 7 points for it. It does have a 3 at medium, though, and it picks up an extra hit. So it is 7 HP. And that's why I like it. That extra shot at medium and that extra HP can be super effective sometimes, and you're still moving 18. Although the turret is only 2-2 dash, so you don't get the extra shot from medium in the turret, which is still a bummer. The Drillson C, it's 42 points. It's a Falcon Wolf mech. It's pretty stupid. And when I say stupid, I mean here's a move 18 TMM3 hovercraft that's got 7 HP. It maintains a damage output of 541. Who cares about the one? But geez, Louise, 5 shots at short range and 4 at medium on a hovercraft. That's pretty wild. The turret's and the turret is 3-3, which isn't the worst in the world. I mean, it'd be better if it was higher, but three in the turret, I'll take that. It is case 2, so it's crit resistant. God, that 5 at short is ridiculous. I would hate for that thing to move into my rear arc and be doing 6, and it very well and very possibly could. The C2 is 37 points. It's a Falcon, Wolf, and limited availability for Hell's Horse, basically. Same movement, same TMM, same size. It is 7 HP. Again, one more in the armor. It's 432. I mean, if you wanted to trim some points off of that C variant, you do get to do that. I mean, I don't really care for that long range damage, but 4 at short range is no joke. And you get a turret of 322 and its case. So it's decent. I think it's just a lot of points for a hovercraft and something that's really fast. And that's always the problem with these really expensive hovercraft is that you're putting a lot of points into them, and they can die and they can take motive hits. So that's a consideration. But this isn't terrible. The MML version is, I think it's garbage. 37 points. It loses 2 points of movement, so it's 16, but it is 4-3 with 7 hit points. I just don't like losing that movement, and the turret is only 2-2. So I probably wouldn't take this. All right. If you run Drillsons or size 2 hovercraft, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, may the blessings of Blake be upon you.